what I mean?
Yeah, be more exposed to other type of content and other type of thinking and...
Yeah, and more loving to other nations. You know, I mean, Europe has this great fear of Russians, and well, I think it's stupid. And because I went to Russia in 1990 and I met top philosophers and we met to discuss peace, I realised that any prejudice I had about Russia was stupid. You know, they're highly intellectual, incredible people, and I've been wanting to share that ever since. And create a dialogue. So I'm pledged to get an EU-Russian treaty going.
You know,
I don't know how we're going to do it. We're going to do it.
I hope so.
Even on just the level of cultural exchange and, like you're saying, informational exchange. And also a cyber peace treaty would be part of that. So we don't do hacking and violence against Russia's cyberspace, and they don't do it against us. That's part of just civilized discourse, you know.
You know, I also see this as a part of protection of each other cultures and a fear of change, perhaps, and just this basic instinct to keep everything stable because we as human beings are used to some sort of environment.
Yeah.
So maybe it would be interesting, going back to the first question, to transcend this also on the more global level, to accept and empathize other conditions more.
Yeah, I think transcendence will help. But, you know, I know enough about Russian intellectual history to know that they have very, very deep thinkers and philosophers, and going back to people like Soloviev and then the theosophist Blavatsky. And Alexander Dugin is a modern representative of this kind of Gnostic Russian universalism. And there have been others. I think that at its best, the Russian soul is a transcendental, you know, capacity. It's very, very deep. And Tolstoy, one of my intellectual heroes, is an example. These are the people, and Nicholas Roerich is another, a great artist. At that level, the West and the East can make peace, you know. There's no, and we have enough intellectual strength between us to get rid of that fear that you're talking about. So if you can design a software app that we can get going on Russian and American and British and European software computers, that would be great, you know. I'll let you design that. Okay, I think is it your turn to ask me?
Well, I think I'm out of questions for this.
Okay, that was that last one.
Yes.
Okay. Well, my last one was slightly naughty, but I hope you'll appreciate. Yes. So after we've got the Russian EU treaty, peace treaty, can we please extend it to Russian EU American peace treaty? Like what you said, and it was nice, your immediate reaction was saying you want a universal peace treaty. Well, I think Europe is midway between Russia and America. And I don't know why we can't get a universal peace treaty between both Russia on one hand and America, USA on the other. Then that would be kind of neat. Since I've been organising Philosophers of Peace in Europe, during the Cold War, I had this vision. I said, why can't Europe make peace with both wings of the Cold War? They're like, forgive the language, the bastard children of European civilization, you know. And they need to come home to Delphi and be part of the Delphic Games and stop misbehaving. They're like adolescents. And a lot of these Americans, you know, the kind of capital rioter types, they are adolescents. They need to respect Mother Europe and make peace with Russia, Mother Russia. And I know the Native Americans who I have a lot of time for, and I'm on a wisdom council with some of them. They don't want World War III and blowing up all of Russia and Europe and America. It's not in their interest. They want peace, properly. Deganoida, the great Native American leader, is one of my heroes, you know, as a Canadian. So anyway, that's my final question is, how can we make peace between not just Russia and Europe, but extend it across the Atlantic? You've been to America, right?
Yes, I've been there for some time. I did my internship there. In fact, maybe we should really be focusing on not like how to stop fighting or how to stop any type of conflict, but what can we really do, and look at the more positive approach as for example, creativity and arts that were mentioned before. So how can we redirect our focus and create this artistic projects to unite
across the Atlantic?
Exactly. To not really think about the differences that we have, either Russian soul or European soul or American soul, to not to blur this borders between the linguistics and differences that we have, but focus more on the really traits and conditions that we are as Homo sapiens have, which is creativity, the state of flow, our neurosciences. We have the same type of brains. Literally.
Sure.
So elevating that would be a great way to go.
Excellent. Yeah, no, I agree, 100%. And lots of very creative and clever Russians have gone to the States. Like the guy that founded Google, one of them is a Russian student, he just happened to be around at the right place at Stanford. So I think, and yet, it's as if our nation states haven't caught up with the global mind. We humans, Homo sapiens, want to be universalists, but our states, our nations, and the political parties that run them, like the Republicans and the Tories, and they're still stuck in some dinosaur world where it's us against them. And so, I mean, it's a bigger conversation we'll have another time maybe, is how we upgrade the software of the minds of politicians to get with the universalist message, I mean, there was the Brazilian woman at the Luxembourg Peace Forum said she's studying this in Brazil's context, and Brazil's politics has shifted to the right. And nowadays, if you say you're anything that isn't right, you're immediately accused of being a communist, as if that's like something evil. So the left, the debate has become very unsophisticated in Brazil. You're either pro the fascist, right-wing authoritarian regime, or you're a nasty communist, Well, come on, guys, this is 1930s nonsense, And I think there's a place of being universalist, which is beyond the left-right, beyond the nationalism, beyond the binary oppositionality of stuck thinking, and that we have the right to do that. And that's surely what the internet age is about at its best. But that's reclaiming it for peace instead of for militarism. So anyway, we have a lot of work to do. But I believe we can do it, and I think the periodic table can help. If people study that, there's a website, they look at it, we can reclaim our universal intellect. I mean, in Islamic thought, God is the universal intellect. We intellectuals, we just plug into it. We learn how, through transcendental, devotion. And then when you do that, you realise you're one with all peoples, cultures, races, and religions. I think that's where we're going as a species. That's the noetic age that we deserve.
Accessing this cultivation of love and empathy is the key.
It is, absolutely. Right, so I think that's brilliant. Thank you so much for coming here to the museum, the European Peace Museum. You're a perfect European muse. And I'm going to finish here, if you'll indulge me, with a little poem. So I'm going to just read at random from this is my 5th volume. This is called Spinning. It's just, it's number 707, because at the end of the day I'm a poet as well as everything else. And I like to end these talks with a poem, because sometimes you can't say it in prose, right? Okay, I think I wrote this in the Balkans when I went to the Macedonian Struga Poetry Festival. It was on the way back. It's called Spinning. We're always waiting for something, snatched in parts, to reassemble. Something incorruptible, like the book of a saint buried thousands of years ago. evoking still the scent of lilies and cool alabaster. We're seeking also to reassemble the lost parchments of the libraries that were spoiled and which were used as bookends, trembling and tremulous. Someone asked, why has it gone astray? When Spirit first sang at the beginning of things, an impossibly high place, and along followed the purpose, a sense of duty, and water flowed from somewhere down and along. Then reason shone like the Logos, and the sun was suddenly there in the sky. It's an old story. Love appeared like the scent of a rose, and the moon took off, smiling at the sun, bashfully, spinning. Okay, spinning.